The nomination of Mitt Romney to run for president by the Republican Party is a cold slap in the face to every Vietnam War veteran and those who gave their life for our country in Vietnam. First, we should put this in context of his family history. At the start of World War II, Mitt Romney's father was 34 years old, yet he saw fit to not serve in the military for the whole war. Mitt Romney has 5 sons. We have had 2 wars in Iraq and 1 in Afghanistan, yet none of his sons saw fit to put on the uniform of our country and defend our country. The Vietnam War was a complicated situation. Personally, when I was in 8th grade in 1966, I figured out that the war was a bad idea. In hindsight, the war was a real bad idea. However, at the time, communism was on the march. They controlled Eastern Europe, the Soviet Union, China, Cuba, North Vietnam, and North Korea. To people coming out of being occupied by colonialism, the concepts of communism did sound like welcome relief. The contradictions of communism did eventually bring it down, but compared to how things were prior to the end of colonialism, communism sounded attractive. Many people were for the war and many were against it. Mitt Romney was for the war. We will now look at a picture of him demonstrating on behalf of the war. During the war which he demonstrated for, he got not 1, but 4 deferments from the draft. One of those deferments was for a missionary trip to the south of France, where he lived in a palace that had a servant and a chef. We will now look at a picture of him enduring the HE double toothpicks of southern France. While true Americans who didn't have wealthy, connected parents were being killed and maimed in Vietnam. For Vietnam veterans, think of what you were doing and the people you were with were doing when Mitt was pedaling his bicycle around southern France. It should also be noted that the typical Mormon mission was 2 years. His mission trip and deferment extended for 2 years and 7 months. On one level, if he just would have said, I had rich parents who could afford to send me to college so I could get a 2S and pull strings so I could go on an extended mission trip, so I would not have to serve in Vietnam, where I did not want to get shot at and killed or wounded. In 1994, the Boston Herald quoted Mitt Romney as saying, planning on signing up for the military. It was not my desire to go off and serve in Vietnam, nor did I take any actions to remove myself from the pool of young men who were eligible for the draft. If drafted, I would have been happy to serve. What I find particularly appalling is that he said, nor did I take any actions to remove myself from the pool of young men who were eligible for the draft. What in the world does he think getting 4 deferments means other than removing himself from the pool of young men who were eligible for the draft? It gets even worse. In 2007, he told the the Boston Globe, I longed in many respects to actually be in Vietnam and be representing our country there. And in some ways, it was frustrating not to feel like I was there as a part of the troops that were fighting in Vietnam. Here is the picture of him again on his bicycle in southern France. You can just see the longing to be in Vietnam on his face. You can just see his frustration of not being a part of the troops fighting in Vietnam. How anyone so dishonest about what they did during the Vietnam War could be the nominee of a major political party is beyond me. It is nothing but a slap in the face to all Vietnam veterans and to those who gave their life during the Vietnam War. People like him are willing to send other people's children to war while the money just rolls into their trust funds.